Imagine living into your 90s, yet you are still active and independent. And your brain is so sharp that you remember the details of your conversation. Well, the women in the so called blue zone, they're not only just living longer, but they are active and they are maintaining incredible mental clarity in their later years. So today I'm going to reveal for you 6 of these blue zone secrets that's going to help you stay youthful, healthy, sharp, and vibrant after 50. You'll learn how to adapt these longevity secrets into your very own life starting now. And you want to stay to the end because number 6 is so easy. You can actually start that before dinner tonight. So, what are the blue zones? You may have heard the term before. The blue zones are these longevity hotspots. There are 5 regions initially identified by Dan Buettner and a team of researchers. And these are where people live regularly past their 90s and 100, and they stay remarkably active and healthy. The original regions identified include Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Korea in Greece, the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, and our very own Loma Linda in California. The lifestyle of these people, they've been studied in depth and documented for years, so we can learn a lot. I will tell you, though, some recent findings. In these blue zones, we started to have addition of westernization, and that includes fast food restaurants. And so we see the effects of such exposure. So when the people of the blue zones are having the blue zone lifestyle, they live longer, they're healthier, they're youthful, and they don't get sick. And then when they get exposed to fast foods, they start to have Western diseases. So this actually, for us, is good evidence of how the blue zone lifestyle can be beneficial, right? There's that quote that success leaves clues. And so we know that that blue zone lifestyle, we can learn from that and help us to live longer, more youthful, to have these brain boosting habits so that we can be clearer in our later years. Number one habit is that they fill their plates with plants. There was an article in the Neurology Journal in 2015, and it showed that the people in the blue zones, they tend to eat foods that were high in healthy fats, greens, and beans, and that these foods seem to be linked to a slower cognitive decline. For example, Okinawan women, they eat a diet that is high in sweet potatoes, those purple sweet potatoes that I love. They also eat tofu, seaweed, and turmeric on a daily basis. And the Icarians, they consume wild beans and greens at nearly every meal. So here's an action tip for you. Try to fill half your lunch and dinner plate with greens and try to have a serving of beans or lentils daily. Number 2 is that they move every day and naturally. Sardinian women, they walk steep hills, they garden, they do chores well into their 90s. Nicoyan women, they hand grind the corn and they carry heavy baskets. I've shared with you the story of my great grandmother who died at the age of 98. And up until then, she was active and healthy and strong and cognitively intact, and she fell and had a hip fracture and died from complications of that. But what we know for her was she moved naturally, just like these blue zone women, because for years, well into her 70s and beyond, she would walk miles to my grandfather's place of business and walk miles back home. Evidence of the benefits of moving naturally was actually demonstrated in a study that was published in JAMA Neurology back in 2019. And it showed that regular low intensity movement increases blood flow to the brain and reduces dementia risk. I will have the links to these resources below. So here's your action tip. Take a 30-minute walk after meals or just stand up every 30 minutes during the day. Movement is medicine, right? Another thing is consider getting a small garden. It will have so many benefits, both cognitive, mental, and physical benefits. So get a small garden. Number 3 is that they stay socially connected. I've shared with you in the past that As we get older, initiating and maintaining friendship tend to be more challenging. We move, we leave the workspace, people get divorced, children move away, and people die. And so it is harder to maintain friendship. We know that research has shown us that loneliness and social isolation can lead to illness and even early death. In the blue zone, though, the Okinawan women, they belong to groups called Moai. These are very tight friendship groups, long-term friendship. And the Ikarians, they share meals with their friends and neighbors. So what can you do? I know for me, my mom, my sisters, we are on a group chat and we check in every day. You can join clubs and groups to build community. Another thing I do with some of my former colleagues is we have these virtual coffee or tea dates because we live in different places. So find ways to stay connected because that's important. Number four is that they find purpose in everyday life. Purpose is often defined as discovering a sense of meaning and direction in life, often involving long term goals that are both personally fulfilling and impactful on the world. Often, though, as we get older, right, because purpose sometimes is associated with work. As we get older, we retire or we're no longer working, we can lose that sense of purpose. We can feel like we're not contributing to the world. I can share, for example, that when I was working full time in the hospital, I loved taking care of my patients. However, I also did volunteer work as a community health educator, and I had purpose in that. And now that I'm on YouTube and I'm sharing health information, for me, it gives me purpose. So purpose doesn't have to be about employment. There was a 2010 study in the Archive of General Psychiatry, and it found that a strong sense of purpose gives you a 2.4 lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. All right. So purpose is really important. So how does the people of the Blue Zone maintain a sense of purpose? Well, Okinawan Okinawans call the sense of purpose ikigai, and the ikigai is understood to be the reason for being, a sense of purpose and fulfillment. It is a source of joy and value in life. For them, it's not just about work, but it includes passion projects, relationships, and activities that make life worthwhile. It is often said that ikigai encompasses some combination of what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and in some cases, what you can be paid for. So if you look at it, ikigai doesn't have to be about your actual work or profession, right? It can be passion project, can be about raising a family or engaging in hobbies or just contributing to your community in general. The Nicoreans refer to their purpose as the plan de vida or the life plan. And this life plan is a central concept in Korean's life. It is said to be a driving force for people to stay active and engaged. And it is seen as more than just a personal goal. For them, it is a collective mindset that encourages engagement, family, community, and having a positive outlook and also contributing to the collective good. So, what action plan can you take on to develop your sense of purpose? It may be as simple as writing down one thing that gives you a sense of meaning and take action on that one thing. Revisit that thing. Don't be afraid to revise it because as you evolve, your sense of meaning and purpose may also change, and that's okay. Number five, they manage stress through rituals. We've known for years that chronic stress can have negative impact on our health, including the health of our brain. In fact, there was a 2017 study in Frontiers of Aging Neuroscience, and it showed that chronic stress can damage a part of the brain called the hippocampus. And this part of the brain is very important in memory. So, how does the people of the blue zone handle stress? The Icarians are said to take naps daily as a form of rest and relaxation, sort of rejuvenation. And the Okinawans, they take pauses to honor their ancestors and to practice mindfulness. Sardinians, they enjoy a glass of wine with friends at sunset. What about you? What action can you take to help relieve stress? It is my belief that if you can get to the root of the stress, that's the best way. But I also recognize that sometimes we cannot remove our stressors and we have to find ways to deal with the stress itself. And so things like 10 minutes of relaxation practice each day. And it could be praying for some people. It could be breathing exercise. It could be meditation. One of my favorite, gratitude journaling. These have all been found to be helpful. Number 6, this is they eat mindfully and they stop before they are full. So mindful eating is a practice that involves paying close attention to the experience of a food. When you practice mindful eating, you tend to focus on things like the sensation of eating, the taste, the texture, and the aroma of food. And it involves eating without multitasking or watching screens or other forms of distraction. I have to tell you, this is something I have to work on. When you practice mindful eating, you also tend to pay attention to hunger and fullness cues. And this will reduce the risk of overeating. If you're like me, you may have had the occasion where you're eating while distracted, say you're watching the TV, and the food is gone and you didn't even realize it. Eating while being distracted can lead to overeating, and overeating of certain foods can lead to health risks and obesity. A 2015 study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that mindful eating supports metabolic and brain health. In addition to mindful eating, Okinawans, they practice hara hachigu, which causes them to stop eating when they are 80% full. This practice reduces the risk of overeating. So, how can you practice mindful eating? One option is for your next meal tonight is to simply remove the distraction of the television or the telephone. And this is something I'm talking to myself. Another practice is to put down the fork in between bites so you can savor the flavor. These blue zone habits, they're not complicated. Nope. They are incredibly powerful. They are effective. They've been studied for years. The people of the blue zone have shown us that simple, small things can help us to keep healthy bodies, clear minds, and independence into our later years. Remember, if you want those benefits later, you have to start now, and you can create that blue zone ecosystem right in your very home and right away. If you found this information to be helpful, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and continue watching for more on healthy aging and longevity. I'm Dr. Diane Thompson. Thank you so much for watching.